Hey everybody, Frank here. I'm going to go through a quick, well, not a quick, a kind of in-depth tutorial kind of walkthrough of an application that I really enjoy using for taking notes in a lecture situation or classroom situation. It's from G8R Software, so that's the letter G, the number 8, and an R software, and you can find them on the App Store, and the name of the application is Capture Notes. You can see it here in the bottom right-hand corner of my screen. This is actually Capture Notes version 2. So we'll go ahead and jump right into it. And there are a lot of applications that are available for this type of thing, note-taking and so on. But I found this is the one that I kept coming back to. They just recently made the upgrade to version 2, and they put a lot of the things that different users were suggesting they put in the application. I've seen them show up. So they seem to be real responsive to what the community is asking for. So again, this is Capture Notes, and this is pretty much my sole note-taking application in lecture and classroom type situations. So when you open the application, you're faced with this first page. It's kind of the home page of the application, and it has different binders. And the way this works is you have a binder which also then contains notebooks, and each notebook then can be a separate session. And so normally what I'll do is I'll just create a notebook and then go ahead and kind of go from there. And we'll walk through that here in a second. But when you look at these first notebooks, one thing I want to bring up, the top two on the left-hand side, you have Capture Notes Help for version 2, and then you have the old help binder, which was the original help binder. What I like about these binders is they actually are notes themselves. So when you click on the binder and open it up, you have all these different notebooks. So if we want to get information about how to do audio recording, we just click on the audio recording notebook and it will open up, and it is actually a notes page. So what that means is I can actually click on the pen tool at the top and I can write directly on this document. Okay, this will be no different than any note that I was creating, and I kind of like that. There's places within the help file where it says go ahead and try this, and then you can write or type or whatever it might be. So when you look at the interface here, you can scroll up and down with one finger on the left side. That's your navigation from page to page, and if you click on it, you'll go to that page. To scroll up with the page that's in the current view, you use a two-finger scroll. So spread your fingers apart and then just slide up or down, and you can scroll through the document that way. If you want to go through page by page, you can do a three-finger scroll gesture, and then that will go ahead and take you to the whole next page, and you can scroll up and down with 3 fingers to do that. So pretty nice using the gesture features. Now if you like to have your navigation on the other side, you can just grab the little bar at the top of the navigation there, and it will allow you to drag over, and you can put that on the other side. So that is adjustable. Same way with the flags, they can be moved to either side. I prefer to have my flags on the right and my navigation on the left. I don't know if it's right brain, left brain thing, but whichever way you like it, they make it pretty easy for you to move it around. So we'll go ahead and click out of that. We just hit the back arrow and brings us back to our notebooks, and then again back to our binders. Now we'll go ahead and create a new binder. So we start with the create button here. And the first thing we get with the new binder, it creates them in order, obviously. So this will be binder 8. And then I'm allowed to click to pick a color. So we'll go ahead and just pick the orange color there. And if I mess that up and I want a different color, I can click the little box with the arrow at the bottom, and I can click change color. And I get the option again, change to a different color. Click done. And you'll see when I click that box, I have a few options. I have edit binder, which allows me to change the name. So I can put test binder as my name. Okay, and then within that, I can create a subtitle. Maybe AM session, day 1, something like that. And I can also put notes in here as well about the binder, what it was or what's in it or whatever I want to do. When I click save, you'll see that everything except the notes show up on there. If I want to see the notes, I have to go back in and act like I'm changing it, and I'll see those notes again. Now another thing they added that's pretty cool, instead of having to click that box and click edit binder, you can just long touch on the title and you'll get the edit box automatically. So again, that's one of those user features where I think they were real receptive to the input from users that, hey, it'd be easier if we had this. So again, another nice little upgrade there. You can share the binder. If we click that, we get this option box, and you'll see you get the same option box when you're inside the application doing different pages as well. But you can, at any time, you can email, you can link to Evernote. Now, that's kind of grayed out because I don't have my Evernote account linked to this, but you can see I have Dropbox and iTunes that I can also share with. I personally use Dropbox. Nothing wrong with Evernote. I know there is a feature in Evernote where you can take a PDF file and do text recognition, and then somehow you can use that to search on Evernote with the text recognition from your notes. So I guess people that are more familiar with Evernote, that's a big key feature there with the upgrade. I can also click on binder file as a format or binder file with no audio. So that's kind of nice as well. And I could share that binder. I can, again, email it or upload it to Dropbox. I put mine on Dropbox, and we collaborate. I'll have other people that will log in, get the binder, share it, work on it, and put it back. So a nice feature there. And then if we hit, oh, the finger's not working here. Let me go back. If I hit the button again down there, we did change color, and then we just have delete binder. And that's pretty self-explanatory. So you can delete from there. Now, a couple things on this front page before we get into the application. You'll see I have this import shared binders. This is how I would get the binders back from Dropbox or Evernote or iTunes. So I just click that, hit my Dropbox account, and I can pull those down. You're also, there's things in the help file that will teach you how to back up, use Dropbox to back up all of your notes as well. So if you have a lot of stuff on your iPad and you want to have it backed up in another location, you can easily do that as well. Next button here is the magnifying glass, and I can click that, and it allows me to search any binder. So if I just type the word test in and hit enter, it brings up any notebook that has the word test, because that's what I put in. So a very nice search feature when you're looking for a certain part of a note. You can click the X and it empties it out. Some people get confused here. They try to click on the screen to get rid of the search bar. You actually have to click on the magnifying glass again, and that'll take the search function away. Okay, and then these last two buttons, this next one is just allowing me to sort the binders in different ways. And then last here, we'll go real quick through the settings because we're going to talk about these as we move along. And they're actually very simple and self-explanatory for the most part. They have little captions, I guess you'd say, next to the buttons that explain kind of what they are and what you're editing. But remember, defaults, this is setting my default. So when I click on a pen tool inside of an application, I'm going to get whatever default color I select. If I select red or black. Now, you can also change if my default is black and I'm inside of a note and I obviously want to go to red for a second. I can show you. We'll go through that. They've made it very easy to change the color for just that note that you're working on, and then it'll default back to the other one whenever you're finished. So really nice features. So on this first page, it's all your pen tools. One other thing I want to note too, down in the bottom right-hand corner, if you go crazy editing your help file or deleting a photo out of there or something to that effect, you can just hit Restore Help, and it will restore your help file. Okay, so we have, next page is flags. I have business flags that relate to that. I have educational type flags. Test item is something I use a lot. Review, and then web reference. So there's a lot of good tags there by default. But if you don't find what you're looking for, you can add different sets and you can add custom tags in there. Okay, next is my default paper. I usually just leave this to white and non-lined or blank. But if I wanted it to be grid, I could just select grid paper, and that would be my default paper. And then also your page stamp, which is when you created the page, date and time, things like that. And over on the right, I can have color. If I want my color to be yellow or brown, I can select whatever color I want by default. Okay, a couple things quickly on the audio. Being able to record the lecture is huge, and they've added some new features now where you can not only record the lecture and do your notes, but you can go back after the fact and listen to the audio again and re-tag or re-flag parts of the audio while you're updating your notes. So it's a really great upgrade in my opinion. I usually keep it at high audio. Storage space isn't a big deal, so I'm not really worried about that. I want good quality. And then the jump back. When I put a flag into my note, it's gonna, and I'm recording audio at the same time of the lecture, it will actually put the time that I dropped the flag in. So say at 8 minutes and 50 seconds of the lecture, I dropped a flag in that said research. Well, we can set this here so that when I later on go to that flag at 8 minutes and 50 seconds to listen to it, it will back up and it will start playing however many seconds I tell it to. So in my example of 8 minutes and 50 seconds, if I have this set to 20, it's going to start playing at 8 minutes and 30 seconds of the recording so that I hear what led up to the point where I dropped the flag. So again, pretty nice feature there. Fast forward and rewind allows you to, every time you click, it will fast forward or rewind by this amount of seconds, 5, 10, 20, so on. And then you can hide or keep the recording banner up there. I usually keep it up because it doesn't get in the way at all. This is where you would link your accounts. You can see I'm linked to Dropbox. I can unlink there, or I can log in and link to Evernote. The data backup that I talked about, you can export to Dropbox or export to iTunes as a backup to Capture Notes. And then on the last page, another nice feature, you can create a PIN number that you can assign to the application so that no one can open it at all, or you can assign it to a binder, individual binder. So a lot of flexibility there as well. That pretty much hits the settings. So we'll go ahead and get going into the application. We'll click on our test binder. And the first thing we get here is a notebook. And the notebook is automatically blank. So if you're in a hurry, you can just click on it and go in and start writing, and you can always go back and you can edit it. Same as before, I can long press here, and that will allow me to change the names, and then I have all the same edit information that I had from before. Okay, so we'll go ahead and open that notebook and get started. Oh, hit the wrong button. Let's change... I'll go ahead and make this a test notebook too. And that's one little thing that I've done before. You'll see there's a save button on there, so you can't just click off. You have to actually click the save button and get it to change. So then we'll just open the notebook. Okay, again, like I said, your page is set up, navigation on the left, your flags are over on the right, and pretty much everything you need to work with is right in this top banner. You have your pen tool, highlighter, eraser, keyboard, photos, and then the arrow is an undo button, and then you have your paper. So if I initially want to make this a different type of paper than my default, I just click on the... Oh, I'm sorry. I said the wrong thing. It's not paper. This is, well, if you click on the left, it's paper, but there's more to it than that. So we'll get with the... We'll change the paper just so you can see if we want to make this a legal pad look. We could change that, okay, and we could use that paper. So we'll go ahead and leave it like this for a minute, and then I'll get back to what the other things were within that little paper icon. So first here we have the pen tool. If we do a long press on it, we get the pen tool, and we can change the diameter of the tip, okay, and we can change to one of these 8 colors by default. And the color picker here on the right-hand side, you can see the one that's lit up, is the one that lists these 8 colors. If I want something different than these 8 colors, I click the other color chooser there, and I can select a different color. Okay, and then I can also select lightness and darkness of that color till I get exactly what I want. Maybe I want that color there. I click off, and now you'll see my pen is that green color. So I could actually come in now and write with that color. Okay, I'm going to change my paper back to white, make it a little easier to see. Okay, so there's my green pen. Maybe I want the tip to be a little bit bigger, so I can click that. Now I have that little bit bigger tip there. Okay, as far as the writing, I personally don't write my notes because I see it takes me longer. I have an external keyboard, and I like to go ahead and just type my notes, and then I'll sketch in or do some drawings or whatever I might need, but I don't actually write out my notes. If you do, we'll look down here in the bottom left-hand corner. You'll see the 2 tabs there. The first one, when I click it, brings up a box, and they call this a focus box, and what it does is there's my focus box at the top. I can actually write in the bottom box, okay, and when I get to the line, it will reset and it will go to the next box down, so I could continue to write throughout the page. Okay, here, so I'm writing. When I get to the line, it resets. I continue to write. So you could use that feature to go ahead and write your notes out by hand if you prefer to do that. You can change from a half to a full line, which is going to make it, you'll see here when I finish this one, it actually makes those lines closer together because I just went a half space apart instead of a full space. You have the ability to move your focus box up or down. You can do a carriage return automatically before you get to the end of the line if you want to do that. We'll go ahead and start another page here. And we do have a new page button right there next to I have 1 of 1, 2 of 2. And I can move my focus box to start at the top and continue on. So you do have that feature. If you prefer to do those types of notes, you can do that. The other part that you have is a palm rest, and this will allow me to write on the paper here with my palm resting on the palm rest, and it won't pick it up as trying to write down there on the page. And I know a lot of the other note-taking applications have that, but from what I can tell, as I said, I don't personally use those a lot, but they're right there with the other ones I've tried as far as quality and the ability that they have of people to do their notes that way. So should be fine if that's how you prefer to do it. Okay, we'll change this pen back to one of the default colors. We'll just go to black. Okay, and we'll say maybe we have some notes here. Okay, if I want to get rid of part of this, I have 2 ways to do that. One is I can hit the back arrow in the top banner there, and it's going to step back through and delete those just like a regular undo. Okay, or maybe I put that in, and now I can hit the third button over, and that's my eraser. If I long touch on it, I can pick a different size. We'll go with a larger one here, and I can delete, and I can then go ahead and delete any part of my text. Okay, now you are able to delete everything except typing. Typing, you cannot, I'm sorry, I don't mean delete, erase. You can erase everything except typed text. Anything you type, you're not able to erase, which is actually good. I'll show you that in a minute, why I like that. Okay, so we'll go ahead and erase there. Let's get into the text tool. Okay, again, if I long press on it, I can quickly change from my default. I can go to a different font. I can go to a different color. Okay, I have 4 colors to choose from there, and I have different sizes. So what you want to do is click on the paper, and I'm using an external keyboard, so I can go ahead and type. Okay, and then whenever I'm finished, I just click off, and you can see that text is there, and you're able to move that around. What I like, one of the features they upgraded is you used to have to adjust that size, that font box, the text box, to the size of your page, and then type. Or it would just, for example, if I left it just as narrow as the quick brown fox, it would just continue to carriage return, and my paragraph would only be that wide. And it's not a big deal because all you have to do is reach over and drag it out, and it would be long again and be the full page width. But I just like how they've kind of done some updates to it so it flows a lot better. If I'm in a hurry and want to type something that the instructor is saying, I don't want to have to fiddle with moving the box around and getting it lined up. I just want to be able to get the information on the page. I can always go back and edit it later if I need to. So now that we have some text here, let's say we're going to highlight. So same thing, we long touch. We can select the size of the highlighter, any color that we want. And then what we're going to do is just highlight right over. And you'll see it kind of gives that look of a real highlighter where you actually do it. And, you could scribble it like that. And I used to think I didn't like that. It wasn't as clean. But actually I do like it this way because it sets it out from something that would just be highlighted text and be real uniform. This gives me something where I can really, if I wanted to, and you could even do something like go select the pink color, and I want to double highlight something. So you have the ability to do quite a bit more by being able to just scribble like that. So I do like that now that I've had a chance to use it. Now let's say I just did the undo button to get rid of the pink, but maybe I want to delete or erase. So now I'll take my eraser, and you can see I can erase everything on the page here with the exception of the text, which is kind of nice. So I do like that feature. If you do want to delete text, then you're going to go ahead and just select your text tool, click on it, and you can hit the delete button there, and it'll delete everything in that text box. So I do like to also get in the habit of, if there's a different topic that the instructor starts to talk about, I might go ahead and grab a new text box and start it that way. That way I can go back and kind of keep them organized. So I do like that feature as well. And like I said, everything in the top is pretty much the stuff you're going to use 90% of the time. So we'll click on this last box. I showed you the paper already. We have the next tab there at the bottom, templates. And templates are nice because, let me click on a new page so we clean it up. Okay, templates. Maybe I can assign it to the current page or to all the pages. I'll just do current page. Okay, and you'll see this gave me the Cornell note method, for example. So I have the summary at the bottom. I could grab a text box here and put in the notes, and I could go ahead and type whatever my summary might be, drag that around. Now maybe I want to be back up at the top and have some kind of a heading over here. Okay, and I can adjust that and move it around anywhere. And now maybe on this side, I want to come over and actually write some notes. So you have the ability to set up a template as a background of your page from the templates that are in there. So pretty nice feature for if you do a consistent type template. And then the last thing I'll show you is the PDF import, which what that allows you to do is take any PDF file from Dropbox, Evernote, or iTunes and make that your background. So I have one here of a lesson plan format that we use. And this one I believe is already filled in, but we'll still pull it in. You'll get the idea of what it will look like. So I can import this from Dropbox. And of course, in the middle of my tutorial here, we don't have a very good internet connection. So we'll get back to that. See if we can get it to go here. Well, one more try. There it is. Okay, so we did get that to come in. And you can see I can scroll through. Whoops. Fingers aren't working. I can scroll through the document there with 2 fingers, or I can go a 3-finger slide and go to the next page. Now, what I really like about this is I can click on my text box and open it, and I can type. Something like that, and I can take that text and move it wherever it needs to be. Now, your next question might be, what do you do with that once you put it in there? And one of the features that we didn't used to have was the ability to export this just as a single page or multiple page PDF. So now I can click the box in the top right, and you can see I have the ability to email it. Again, Evernote, iTunes, or Dropbox. I can select the current page, all the pages, or a range of pages, and I can check over here for PDF, and I can turn the page backgrounds on or off if I want to, and then I would be able to go ahead and export that with the notes or text that I just put in, or maybe I want to go ahead and highlight something. So I'll grab my highlighter, okay, and I might want to highlight this and highlight this. So there's different things that I could highlight in there. One thing I would do here is go a little lighter. Okay, something like that. And now when I highlight, it's going to be a little bit easier to read. But anyway, there's different things you can do, or you can put notes in and then go ahead and export that as a PDF. So another good feature with the PDF templates there. Okay, let me click back in my document, and we'll go to another new page. Oops. Okay, so I have a blank page there. Now, I mentioned to you that the audio was a huge feature, and for me, I normally record any lecture that I'm going to. I just start from when the instructor starts talking or right before, and then I'll stop it at the breaks so that I have individual recordings, and then I'll just restart when I come back from a break. So the way you do that is the top right-hand side of the page at the top, you see the red circle. You'll click that, and it will automatically start recording, and you get this bar that tells you it's recording, and you also get your meter that tells you how loud the recording is. When you're doing it in a lecture, you get about half as much. I'm right here in front of the iPad, so it's plenty loud. You can see it's recording there. If I want to click out of Capture Notes and go into another application, I can do that. I just click off. I can go to the internet. I can go to my email, whatever I need to do, and I'm still recording the lecture. You can see it in the background. The only time it will stop recording is if you open something like iTunes or your MP3 player or something that uses the audio. As long as it's something that's not using the audio, then it'll keep running in the background. So I can double click and reopen Capture Notes, and you'll see it just kept running just like it was before. So let's say now we're getting to, well, let me go ahead and type a little something. So I'm putting in some notes here, and let's say right at this point, as I'm putting in the notes, I want to make a note to myself that this is something on a test. So I'll grab the test item tag or flag and drop it in. You'll see it says at 1 minute and 2 seconds of this recording, I put this in here for test item. Okay, so I can continue on with my notes a little bit later. Okay, and say the professor or the instructor says you need to reference this website. So I might grab the web reference and bring it over and drag it at 122 and put it right there. Okay, now let's say we're on a break and we stop. So I'll hit the square next to the recorder and it stops. And you'll see it put a file cabinet here with an open drawer. If I click on the file cabinet, it shows me that I have one recording in there that was at 11:38 a.m. and it was 1 minute and 32 seconds long. Okay, so that's all I'll do. I'll click off of there. Let's say also, sometimes you're not recording. Sometimes you're just taking notes and you might want to drop a flag in. I just want to show you this so that you understand the difference. If I'm taking some notes and now I want to drop something in for an assignment, you'll see the top two flags have times on them because they're linked to that recording time. The bottom flag just has assignment. So if it's not linked to the audio or there wasn't audio going at the time, you'll just have assignment. Okay, if you put a flag in the wrong place, you can delete it. You can long press on the flag, just like that, and you'll get the delete symbol and you can delete the flag. Now I do want to show you one more thing with regard to putting these flags in. I'll drop another assignment flag in there and I'll drop another one in here. Now if I long press on any assignment flag, then I can click this I, and it will actually search and show me all the places where I have an assignment flag. And you can see on page 12 I had 3 of them all on the same page, and none of them had audio grouped with them. Okay, so we'll click off that. I'm going to drop one more in here, test item. We'll drop it in here. Okay, now if I were to long press on test item and hit search, you'll see that it brings up 2 of them, and I can see a couple things by looking at this. I see that they're both on page 12, and I see that one of them says 1 minute and 2 seconds, so there was audio going during that one, and the other one didn't have any audio accompanying it. So again, nice features to be able to quickly search for your tags and figure out what you need to do. Now if I want to listen to the audio where this test item tag was, I can either long press on it. I have an extra option for play, so I can press play and it will start in the top of my screen. I'm not going to do that because it's hooked to the audio that I'm using for this video, so I don't want to mess that up. But right underneath your taskbar with your pen and highlighter, you'll get a small banner and it will allow you to play the clip or pause, fast forward, and so on. Another option is to take 2 fingers next to each other and just tap on the flag, and it will automatically, well, I did it anyway, it will automatically bring up the audio clip and start playing it. And then I can fast forward and rewind there, depending on what my settings are. Okay, so again, real nice to be able to search through your flags and find them. I can click filter flags down at the bottom, so it says test items. Maybe I just want to know where all the test items are. So I click test items, and it's going to bring those up. So there's 2 ways to check your flags. You can either long press on them and click the I button, or you can hit filter flags and search and pick your flags that way. Okay. Now maybe I'm in here with my test items, and this is the educational flag set, and I want to go to something in the business set. So I hit flag library, and I can select business group, and now my flags change, and I could drag one of these business group flags in as well. Okay, and if you don't like your flags being on the right hand side like these are, you can actually switch in your settings and say float, and as you drag a flag across, if you drag one of these flags across, as soon as I get to this other side, it will flip around and be pointing to the left. So that's another feature that you can set in your default settings. Okay, so we're going to go to another page here. And that covers pretty much the way that I do all of my note-taking within the application and the filters. Now, I am going to go back out into the binder, the notebook, and I want to show you a couple of features here. You'll see that this is the one we've been working on, and a new addition here is that I see the actual tags or the flags that are within my book. So I know I have some flags in there. If I click flags, it brings them up and it tells me how many test items, how many assignments, and so on. If I click the microphone, it brings up all of my recordings, and I can actually play those right from here. So if I want to listen to 20 minutes of the lecture, I can just play that and listen to what it is. Okay. When I open this, I'm back into my main screen, which allows me to scroll through and get to the different notes or flags. Now, another feature that they've added that I think is wonderful is that if I come into this clip right here and I start playing it, let's say this is an hour lecture, and I come back and I'll play the clip. Well, now what I can do is I'm going through my notes. If I forgot to flag a test question, I can actually grab a flag and go put it in the notes where it belongs, and it will tag it with the time of the recording that I'm listening to. Initially, you were only able to tag things as you were recording them and get them to show up with your flags. But now you can do it. It doesn't matter whether you do it during the lecture or after the fact. You could actually do your whole lecture and not put any flags in, go back and listen to it, and as you're listening to it, then you enter your test question flags or whatever it might be. So really good if you're the type of student that likes to review your lecture material and kind of clean up your notes and redo them. So again, for me, I really enjoy that feature. Makes things work very well and flow very well for the way that I like to learn. Okay, so we'll go back out, and that pretty much covers everything with capture notes. Like I said, this is version 2. I'm running it here on an iPad 2, and the application works great. Can't recommend it enough. Well worth the $5 I believe that they're charging now, and would highly recommend it. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me or comment. I'll try to get an answer back to you. If you've had good experiences with it, please share those too with other users, and don't forget to check out capture notes. Thanks.